I thought there might be more students for computers from Wellington.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because I don't think some of my friends would be here unless they're morning classes.
No, the three from this morning are from Central Burden.
Uh, yeah.
Oh.
Um, some of them are probably more on the agriculture side, anyways. So maybe
Oh,
that's yeah. Just trying to talk to one of my buddies into coming over here. He's not into like more of acting field than anything. Yeah, my friend said he's gonna do like acting too. He wants to be a director, so yeah.
I think that'd be really hard to get into.
Be a director. Yeah, but he's into comics and all that, and he loves movies. He writes really well. He used to write for like the paper down here.
Yeah.
Took pictures and all that, so I think he might have a chance.
Of course, going in that direction could also um, open up a lot of the doors you could go into.
Yeah.
So, because you could, I'm thinking director is like in the major motion pictures that I've watched.
Yeah.
But I suppose there's directors of a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He's won a few. He's won like second and third in like state
Mm-hmm.
as well, we won. Well, I think this last year we do can't improvise. It's where you like
Oh yeah, improv.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
improv.
Yeah.
We won a few on that. And he's pretty good at it. He got offered a really big part in the play. The Rock of Ages or something like that. We went did that. One of those numbers, so he's really big into that kind of stuff. That's cool.
I annoy my son with my some things I tell him. I tell him I want to be a director. I'm thinking about quitting teaching, going to directing or producer, depending on the day. I'll give him these ideas that I say I'm going to have a Chucky in every film, and like Chucky in the Titanic. He hates that little Chucky doll, and I'll say Michael Myers. I'll put him in every film, and that'd be great. He doesn't quite see the humor.
Chucky doll sitting next to it.
I think it'd be humorous. I love those little skits, little videos they come up with, or got Darth Vader in them or whatever. And they had one where Darth Vader was hitting a baseball and blows up the Death Star. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it is funny.
They created a whole bunch of different superheroes fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
My son and me, he'll be going back and forth, like such and such can beat such and such, and he's a big fan of Deadpool. And I said, Deadpool's nothing. I mean, look at Batman. I think it was Batman that blew him up, and just his head was sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'll grow back, and Yeah, we'll give her 2 more minutes and see if they connect. If they don't connect, we'll go ahead and start.
I'm just logging in, so
Oh, you got logged in?
yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
I still can't.
Okay. Could be they just need to resend you the email. I just need to find out who that is exactly. Although I can probably look up your information. After I shut down the recording, I'll look up your information. I should be able to see what your user ID is.
Well, I have it pulled up. This is like, it's not accepting my username and password.
Oh, so you are entering what they sent you. Huh. That's a different issue then. They probably need to reset your password. Yesterday went so bad, and I got here this morning, and it's just like I couldn't do anything on the network. And I think, oh, this is going to be great. Down to do little shadows on the wall. But then it's actually gotten better as the days gone on. So I don't know if Cox is doing their magic or what exactly. Okay. And, well, this, and I'll go ahead and do this in the recording for the other person. So I know I've already went over this with you, but if you go to cali.edu, and then there's this login single sign on here. So you click that. I'm already signed on, but it should prompt you for your user ID and password. And then after you input that, and you should have received that via an email. So if you haven't, then let me know. You click Blackboard. That's kind of backwards. Somebody was saying this morning that the single sign-on is 3 sign-ons. You have to enter it every time you sign on to anything. In theory, it's not supposed to do that. Then you should see one for each class you're taking. You see, I have 3 here. Now, if you're wondering why are there so many, the way we designed the program was such that we're holding all the classes live here at Wellington, but then we're broadcasting the same lecture to Mulvane, to Arc City, and to online. So if somebody's taking this online, they can see the exact same thing you're seeing from where they're at. The idea behind that is that the magic number that the college likes to see, so they like to see 10 students. In some cases, they get really nervous if there's not 10 students. You can see there's 2 here and 1 at Arc City. So that's 3, and they're happy with that. For starting out, they'd be happy with 1. But I'm thinking 3 or 4 years down the road. Typically, a lot of people don't go into computers. I mentioned that in that earlier class, how it brought people from India and so forth to work in different fields. But I figure, if you get 3 people from Wellington, you got 3 from Arc City, you got 3 from Mulvane, 3 online, you got 12 students, don't you? And so then college is happy, administration's happy, and they're not saying, hey, we want to cancel that class because there's low enrollment. Um, when I came up with the idea or what the program should consist of structure wise in terms of broadcasting like this, it's easier just for me to do it in one class. I admit that. It's kind of a pain to do the Zoom and set everything up and so forth. Um, but I looked at Butler's. They got an early academy program that they have, and their number of high school students that they have, they cannot reach 10, and they have larger high schools to draw upon. And so they're actually people are being bused from Derby up to Andover to the high school there. Andover itself is a huge school. They probably got Augusta coming in. So if they got all those and they can't get that magic 10 for their high school, then we're probably not going to get that. Maybe. That's why I was asking you about your friends. It's just like, and you indicated that some of them had expressed an interest, but a lot of people want to work with computers, but their idea of working with computers is what?
Playing games all day.
Playing games all day, yeah. Social media, Facebook, yeah, I'd like to be paid for that too. That'd be a fantastic job. Um, Somebody said, what? I had somebody one semester say, I'd like to be a game tester. Is that you think a good job?
No, but it is one.
It is a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually considered the lowest end at any game development house. Imagine playing a broke video game all day long. How fun would that be? And then having to write reports documenting, okay, I ran over to the right side of the screen and I wasn't anywhere near the cliff and I fell off. And then you having to write exactly where you're at and then recreate it. And I guess it's pretty mind numbing. You're not getting to play that nice game you get delivered to you at home. Have you ever played a buggy game?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Very frustrating, isn't it?
Currently trying to play one right now, and it's not.
Yeah, that's which one is it?
Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's like a RPG medieval game.
Hmm.
The fighting style in it is aggravating because it would be like the enemy could like pull combos that you can't necessarily block because they're one move too fast, and if you're not skilled enough, then you can't block them. So it's
Yeah, no, those are. I get aggravated. I said I get relaxed by playing that Call of Duty game I play. I also get very aggravated because it times out connection wise. I'm not even sure what's happening.
Yeah. It's either whoever the host of the lobby could be Activision, Treyarch,
Hmm.
or just could be your internet too.
Yeah.
Never know.
And that could be because it tells me that my Ethernet connection, the cable's unplugged.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe try and talk to the wireless. Um, it's plugged in, so I haven't dug into it to see what's going on.
Yeah, I have my PS4 plugged into Ethernet too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want fast response, and it drives me crazy. Because I was sitting there shooting at somebody last night, and I don't know what happened exactly, but they went. I should have had them down. They weren't even to the point where they could fire back at me, but somehow they went past with all the lagging. They went past where I was shooting at.
Yeah.
Then they turned around and shot me.
that's
Yeah.
the problem I've been having for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but now the internet's actually fixed, so I don't know.
It's that's as I understand it, that's what a game tester is like. It's playing like that all day long. And now
That and being a game tester is kind of useless because of all the beta testers and stuff like that.
right, I think that's why they try to push it out, just because they probably can't keep people in that position very long. And of course, beta testers have their own issues too if they're not a good beta tester. Because part of it is really nice finding the errors, but what should you be doing? Documenting everything that led up to it, right? Right. And they may not be doing that as well as they should.
Yeah, that's why they usually just release betas for the people to play, free or if you're a game like Black Ops 4.
Uh huh.
Yeah, like they had a beta over the 10th to the 13th, which ended yesterday. So they just have a lot of people play, give them feedback, they fix whatever they need to do and whatnot.
Mm.
Let's take feedback.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds to document that. I had a program I wrote at Koch Industries for uploading general ledger entries, and I got a lot of praise for it. They said, David, you're doing a fantastic job. I think I wrote that for that praise for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I didn't have to work as hard as other people in my group, just because they were so happy with what I'd done. Well, it was a very simple program. Anybody coming out of any basic programming class could have done it, but it was just something they needed, and so I got a lot of praise for it. But it would blow up every once in a while. It'd say file not found, and I'd receive these calls once every 2 weeks saying, "Yeah, your program just crashed. It file not found." This is like, well, it's not using any files, and they never could give me the exact details of what led up to it, and so I never did figure that out. I left Koch Industries and never could figure out that error. It was always, we'll start it again, it'll work. So, at IFR, I had somebody who had their computer system crash. They had a problem with a program I wrote, and I said, well, go ahead and reboot it, and it'll fix it. He says, that won't fix it. I said, yeah, you'll get it running again. I said, no, you did not fix the problem. You just got me up and running again. So, yeah. Kind of like a video game, right? It crashes, you start it again, and it's working. Didn't fix the issue. Okay, but that's the reason why you'll see these out here. And we'll be doing this every semester. Now, Mulvane was kind of light, but we did have a couple classes they're going to make there. Are you both in the Monday, Wednesday class too in the afternoon? Okay. So you'll see Mulvane there with those two classes. So. Okay. So I'm going to go into the one here. And I'm going to click course content is where you'll see the recordings for the classes. The Blackboard messages where you can send a message. My grades is where you can see your current grades. Here's some other links if you need help with Blackboard, institutional resources, but announcements. If there's a bad ice storm or something, you're wondering if there's a class, I'll send you an email to Blackboard. So, if there's 2 feet of snow before you head out, check to make sure we're having class. I pretty well don't miss class. There's been one time in 15 years I didn't come to class. I live in Mulvane, so it's not too far from here, about a 20-minute drive. And I used to work in Arc City, about a 45, 50-minute drive, and had an ice storm. That ice must have been an inch and a half thick on that road. And I started up, and I got to as far as Udall. I was slipping and sliding all the way. And I got to Udall. I've been going about 3 or 4 miles per hour. And I thought, I'm not dying for Cali. So I turned around and came home. I was just checking to make sure that wasn't it was a text message. Let me see. Wasn't who I was looking for, though. Want to make sure it wasn't that student trying to connect. But yeah, she was not very happy, that VP we had at that point in time. She lived in Rose Hill, and she got in Arc City. She told all people living in the Wichita area, Mulvane area, she says, I expect you to be down, main campus. If I'm here, if the college is open, you need to be down here. It's like, nah, I'm not going to die for Cali. So if there's 2 inches of ice, I won't be here. So if it's snow, things like that, I can travel in snow. But ice I don't do well on. But I will always let you know, so you can check. Okay, so I'm going to go to start here. And here's your syllabus. It's the same location for all classes. Here's my phone number. That's my cell phone number. If you can't, if you call me and you can't get hold of me, you can always send me a text, whatever it might be. Um, and that actually, I'll text you back too. I didn't used to do that, but I got a new cell phone and I can actually type on it. Used to be there was 2 or 3 letters I couldn't type. I had dead spaces on my screen. Anybody ever have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was so annoying. I'd call people back, but it's very rare where I actually text anybody back. So I got a new phone, so I don't have no dead spaces currently. I'd have to turn you'd have what? You turn your cell phone this way so you can type this letter, back this way so you type this letter. Yeah. There's my email address for Blackboard messaging. Office hours posted during the first week of classes. Time when I'll definitely be here is on Fridays. So it'll be kind of an open lab on Fridays. Other times you can work with me through a Zoom meeting and get one-on-one help. Purpose and goal of the class, design to introduce students in computer science, art, or computer graphics concepts of 3D computer animation and animation programming. Objectives of the class, student will gain a comprehensive overview of 3D modeling concepts. A lot of the animation you see in like a video game is done over in the animation package. And so they'll create these little animation skits. You know, what happens when you die. And then they'll play the appropriate one. It isn't usually geared specifically to the unique circumstance you are in the game. Though it is interesting, I'm wondering how much is actually done in the game programming wise when I'm watching a video game. But some of the ways they seem to cease to exist in Call of Duty is very unique. Some of the positions they take, it almost makes me think it's done programmatically instead of on the animation side. But some of the, especially the little skits you see up front where it's kind of like staged, that's definitely can all be done in animation and easily done in that way. Besides game development, besides wanting to work at developing movies and so forth. Let me just check. Okay, still nobody. I'll leave that over here on the side so I can see. Besides those areas, it's used in training purposes. I don't think I mentioned that in here, did I? Okay. There was a class earlier. I had a student in an animation program. We had a more extensive animation program at one time here at Cali, and she went to work for Spirit. My brother works for American Family, and used to be the training was all he'd go travel, and he'd perform this training. Well, what they're going to now is e-learning, and some of the training he does can be done very easily with e-learning. How about if you're doing training on like welding or things like that? Yeah. See, things like that would probably require more physical contact. Now, if you're providing like an update, after for somebody who already knows welding, maybe all they need to see on that update is a video of how to perform the action. Now, you can show them an actual video, and that's oftentimes good, but you can also perhaps create an animation. And that's what she's doing for Spirit. Spirit didn't want to actually film it all. They wanted done an animation. I couldn't tell you why, but that was her job, to create those animation / training, so forth. No, that is a good question, though. When she was telling me this, I never thought about, well, why don't they just film somebody actually doing it? And
if they film somebody actually doing it, there's a higher chance of them forming computer error.
That could be. The idea of somebody actually doing something perfect and what you're doing is yeah. Even if you record it, and re-record it, they still will do slight imperfections. So I suppose a perfect training requires animation like that. I got up. Somebody was knocking on the door. It was an instructor, and I got up to let him in. Tripped on one of these cables. Luckily, it didn't go flying over. But for me to go perfectly smoothly over to that door to answer the door and show the training of it, with an animation, you can have that perfection, right? But more than likely, I'll trip on something, I'll hit something, I'll video-wise turn around. Yeah, that is a good point. So there's a lot of different areas that people in animation go into. The student I had, another student in animation, she took some game development too, but animation was her big focus. She went down to the University of Texas, and they had the full lab down there, and where they could have somebody in a special suit running around, and then they take that and they transfer it over and create the animation based upon that, and they could tweak it and so forth. She got a job. I think it was like an advertising marketing, type place. Little commercial you see on TV, Gecko, however you say that. Yeah. Is it Gecko from Geico? Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's done with animation, right? That's how you can come up with real clever commercials, relatively inexpensive. So it's kind of expanded beyond just movies, and it's now in 3D games and in those areas. Expectations, you come to class. If you don't come to class, you go out and watch the video I've created to get to all the information. You should feel free to ask any question in class. Doesn't mean I'll have the answer. I may have to research it myself. I do not know everything about all the software that's used in the class. I continually learn myself. They keep coming with new versions. So as they do that, they keep changing. I'll never make you feel bad for any question you ask in class. Let's see. Attendance, no specific policy. Late work, make up work. If it's got something going on, you communicate with me, then I'll work with you on that. So you don't have to worry about that. Textbook, none. Instructive material and Creative Commons resources will be used. We'll be using a package called Blender. Have you ever used Blender? No. There's another package called Maya. But Blender is a easy one for people to install at home. Maya is kind of a beast. It's kind of the huge package a lot of people use, but a lot of them use their own package. Pixar, you've heard of Pixar films. They came out with their own package, so for developing animations. They actually released it to the public. I don't even think I'd actually downloaded that. I signed up to receive the email for the release and so forth, but never done that. Why did they release it, do you think?
So people can use it because to really hire those people.
Right. They're seeing a lot of people that didn't have the knowledge they wanted coming in. So if I was going to go in animation, I wanted to work at Pixar, I'd want to get a copy of that, and I'd want to become extremely skilled at that. So when I send them my portfolio, it would be based upon that package, and they'd say, wow, look what this person's done in our package. Yeah. Now, I couldn't tell you why they developed their own, but they did. So, see, computer requirements. It's your responsibility to have access to a working computer with reliable internet access. So we don't do a whole lot with the internet. Let's see. Course grades, projects are 80%. Final project is 20%. The projects will be more than just based upon animation. They'll be based on programming also. Because you can program a lot your animations can be a lot more perfectly done if you do it through a program than if you just do it with a package. Symmetry is important in animation. If you take your character, my side of the face here, more or less, if you flip it over, will it land up on everything on this side?
Yeah.
For the most part, right? I might be a little bit off. My nose might be a little crooked, or the head might be a little bit dented in a few places. But for the most part, that symmetry exists. To have a perfect animation, it needs to be symmetrical. Otherwise, you have kind of jerkiness occurs and so forth. Now, you can design it so things aren't symmetric. Like there's definitely characters that are designed that don't have that symmetry, but that takes a lot more work to get that perfection down. Another way, besides symmetry, is through programming. Like one semester, I was programming the get this right, Earth going around the sun, and I was doing that animation, and I wanted a perfect circle. And I could use some of the tools in Blender by putting little places where it'll go to in a timeline. But would it be perfect circle? No. Be a little bit, I wouldn't get the timing right. I wouldn't have the positions right on the markers, so it would look okay, but if you had a good eye, it wouldn't look right. I wanted perfect, so I programmed it. Have you taken an algebra class? Yeah. Remember your circles?
Mm-hmm.
We got like x squared plus y squared equals r squared. I solved that for one of the variables, and I couldn't tell you which one now. It's been a while. Solved it for y or something like that. And then I incremented x, and I plugged it into that equation. And I had a perfect animation. Now, some people in the past said, you do know that the Earth going around the sun is not a perfect circle, right? It's like, well, I didn't think about that, but it's more of an ellipse, isn't it?
Yeah.
So probably if I understood looked into the science of it, of what kind of pattern it actually does follow, I could actually program that and have it look perfect. So that's part of the idea of the programming side of it, is to achieve those animations. And actually, even in Blender, you can create a game. It's got a game engine behind it, such that you can run a game. Let's see. Tutoring. There's really no tutoring on computer science. That's just through me, through the Friday lab. If you need help after class, I'm not taking off exactly after class, so I don't have anywhere really to rush off to. So if you stick around, then we can work on whatever. Let's see. Withdraw date 11/15. Emergency. Yeah, I already mentioned this. Person at the other side, she won't be interested anyway, but I already mentioned where we go to if there's a crisis. Disability services. If you're working with James Brown, he'll contact me at some point and let me know what kind of accommodations may be necessary. Color is one. Have you ever see like weird colors, like red and you can't see it, and so forth? Yeah. So especially on things like that, if I'm using a color you can't see at all, let me know. I had that in a math class one time. It was a business calc, 3-hour class. Hour and a half into the class, during a break, a person came up to me and said they were red-green colorblind, couldn't see a thing I was writing. I was writing in red. It's just like, why didn't you come up earlier? I would have quit writing in red. I would have written black. But especially if it's something I can do. This morning class, I was trying to show a little bit of programming, and the font was so small they couldn't see it. So let me know that. Grade change appeal. That's more in the semester if you feel you're done wrong on the grade. Student code of conduct. Your standard, no smoking, drinking, vaping, chewing tobacco, saying bad words in class, so forth. Academic code of conduct, don't cheat. Credit hour definition. And then down here, they require me to give you a schedule, so I'll go ahead and give you the schedule here. These units they refer to the course procedures. Though we will use some additional resources in this course. Is there any questions on the syllabus?